So let's then begin on creating this clean plate. So in Photoshop, I'm just going to import this frame 644. And then I also need my clean plate frame, of course. So let's just drag it outside of the frame. So now we have these two on top of each other. So you see there are some differences in lighting, in position. You see that the trees, of course, moved with the wind. Let's just rasterize this already, because we don't really need it as a smart object. So first I'm going to set my blending mode to difference, just to align these plates a little bit better. So if I zoom in a little bit, you see that we get some difference here. And so if I just have my my clean plate selected, I can just move it a little bit until we get more of a black image like that. And so now you see that these two are, if I go back to normal, these two are much closer to each other right now. So then I'm just going to take my take this as a reference and just going to, with my lasso tool, going to make a quick mask all around everything that we don't want in our clean plate. So with our selection made, I've not included these feet. We will handle them later. And just on this layer, then I'm just going to, with this selection made, I'm going to apply a layer mask. And so a lot of the work has already been done. It just needs a few fixes now. So for example, here you see that this is a bit lighter and this is a bit darker. This is a bit greener and this is a bit redder. Yeah, so also here, this is a bit darker and this is lighter. So we're going to do a few different fixes to really incorporate this pasted in clean plates in our footage frame. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a group, and I'm going to make a duplicate of this like that. So let's get this layer mask and just apply it on the group like that. And then on the group itself, by default it's set to pass through. Now I'm just going to set to normal, and let's grab this clean plate and put it in the group as well. Then this original copy, we can get rid of this layer mask. We don't need it anymore. Just make sure that you always keep a copy of that selection, so you don't have to do it again. But this layer, we can actually delete it. So now in this group, I'm going to make another group. Let's just add that into here, and let's get this into there. So let's rename this. This group is going to be the clean plate. And for example, we'll start with this trouble area. So I'm going to need to brighten up this a little bit. So I will just call this right, like the right part of the clean plate. Let's again make just a duplicate, and you can just hold Alt and just make a duplicate. Let's put this in the clean plate group, and then at the bottom, yeah, let's just leave it like that for a while. And so I've made the background into a layer and then just put this copy all the way on the bottom of my layer stack. Then in this group, I'm going to add an adjustment layer, and we'll just take a levels. And then I'm going to just make this a little bit brighter, and then until these two fit into each other. So you can just select this box so that you have the cursor in there, and then just go up and down one by one to get a good setting for the gray point of your levels adjustment. So as you can see in the top part, we get a good correction here. Now it's also a little bit redder, so I'm going to also apply a color balance and just increase this green maybe a little bit, or maybe we can go the other way around and just get a little bit of red out, something like this. So now I will get this right group where these three, the copy of the clean plate and then the levels and the color balance adjustments. Let's apply a layer mask to this and then just Shift F5 to fill it with black. And then let's get this layer in the group. So let's just add another group in here and put it underneath the right group. Let's put our copy of the clean plate in here. So this is the back, like that. And then we can actually select our layer mask here, get a brush and white and brush it white. Make sure that you have this the layer mask selected, and then you can just paint in that correction. Now as you can see here, now it's becoming a little bit too bright. So what we can do is actually set our opacity a little bit lower and just paint it in until it is correct. And if you go too much, you can just invert with X the black and white to go again the other way around. So this is already one issue fixed. If I just turn off this right group, and let's name this then right wall, for example. But we can also, of course, use this for this part, maybe, to also blend that in. So let's save this, what we have now. And so I just saved it as clean plate and then the frame number, so I always know what the frame number is. So let's now work on this other side. And so let's get all these, all the layers in the group, and let's just Alt and drag to make a copy of them. And so this will be like left door. And let's get this color balance, and for example the levels need to go way darker. And let's get this layer mask and let's delete it for now, and then back in the levels we can adjust our levels until maybe this is so I'm just looking at the difference between this part and this part. Let's then again on the left door just add another layer mask, and then let's just fill it with black. And then with a brush we can first just go with 100% and just fill this in here, and then with some lighter brushing just blend it in a little bit. So if you press Alt and click on the layer mask, you can just view it how it is in black and white value, so then you can just make it more even. So let's now work on this top part. So again, I'm just going to select everything of a layer, just make a copy of that. And so it doesn't need to be very correct right now, just so that you don't have visible mistakes in your picture. So just check for hard edges, differences in luminance, in levels, and in color. So let's, as a last step now, get rid of the feet here. So again, I'm going to just get a copy, and let's just get a copy here. So let's again copy and make another group here. And so this will be the right wall, we'll add on top and close it. And so this will be feet. And then let's delete the layer mask. And let's add this group. And so this feet mask I've put outside of the clean plate group. And that's because I want this mask actually to just have the parts that always need to be removed. So it's the green screen and the door. As you can see, if I just single this. So these are the parts that will always be in the frame that need to be removed, because the guy, of course, he moves. So at that time, we don't need the mask of his feet at that point. So that's why I separate the two. So let's again get this enabled, and then the feet group enabled. And then let's add a layer mask here, and then fill it with black, and then with white, and the opacity at 100%. I'm just going to paint the feet away. So this is now our end result. We have our original layer of the footage with the green screen, and I'm going to rename it as the frame that we've used for that. So let's just copy that, and let's rename this layer so that we have that clear link again. And then above that, we always apply the same technique. So we always have just a group where we have our clean plate frame in there, and then we do, so these are not necessary, so we can delete those here. And then, so now it's in a group. We could also just put this on top of here and just add the feet layer mask on there. And then we would have the same result, of course. So you do it in a group if you need some other adjustment layers on top of that, of course. So then we can actually delete this as well. Delete the layer. And then let's just rename this as feet. So this is just the feet, and then here we have all the little pieces that make up the clean plate of where the green screen and the door is. So we have this containing master group where we also have just the mask of where we want to apply our clean plate. And then so the most bottom group is just the original clean plate. And then above that we have some adjustments. So we have an adjustment on the right part of the wall, And there in that group, of course, we have again a copy of that layer and then the adjustment that we need to correct that lighting mistake here. And then on the group layer, we have our layer mask where we can apply that correction onto our comp actually. And then we also have the same for the left door and also for the top column. And so that way we actually have been able to paint out our green screen and door, green screen reflection in the door from our original footage. So I'm going to save this as a Photoshop file, and I'm going to also make sure that we send along this mask with this Photoshop file. So if you control click on the layer mask, that mask is selected. And then if you go to the channels, and then you can use this button, create channel from selection, to create an alpha channel here. So if we now just deselect this and don't have anything selected, then we have in our channel tabs the red, green and blue channels and an alpha channel, which is actually that selection of the green screen and the door. So with our Photoshop file saved, I'm now going to export it just to another intermediate format. And in this case, I'm going to use a TIFF. So I'm going to save as, and then go to a TIFF file. I do want to save the alpha channel that we've created here, but I don't want to have all the layers. So I'm just going to deselect layers and then just save this. So with that done, we can now go into Fusion.